Welcome to the lecture 2.7 of the course Metrology and Machine Tools. In this lecture, I will explain about the planer and slaughter machines. Planer. The planer is a machine tool designed to produce plain and flat surface on a workpiece, which is too large or too heavy. If you want to produce the plain surfaces, if you want to if you want to produce flat surfaces on a larger workpieces, we are going to use the planer. So in the planer, the workpiece is securely fixed on a table and it reciprocates horizontally against a single edged cutting tool. Here the main difference between the shaper and planer is, in case of the shaper, the workpiece is constant, stationary, and the cutting tool is going to be reciprocating. But here, the cutting tool is going to be constant and we are going to reciprocate the workpiece. So the surface machined may be horizontal or vertical or any angle. Now here if you observe this video, in this the workpiece is going to be fixed to the cutting table and the work table is going to be reciprocating. So the main difference between the shaper and planer is, in the shaper the cutting tool reciprocates, in the planer the work table will reciprocates. Because the planer is going to be used for the larger workpieces, so it's not possible to maintain that much ram movement. So that's why here, instead of giving the movement to the ram, here instead of giving the movement to the work cutting tool, we are giving the movement to the work table. That is only the difference between the shaper and planer. Remaining operations are same. Now we'll see the types of planing machines. There are total 5 types of planing machines are there: double housing planer, open side planer, pit planer, edge or plate planer, divide table planer. We'll see one by one. Double housing planer. It consists of mostly a massive bed on which the work table reciprocate and the two vertical columns are housing, one on every side of the bed. It has one bed, and here on both sides of the bed two vertical columns are there. These are the two vertical columns. So every column carry a tool head. It can be moved up and down on the column. So it has the two columns. These are the two vertical columns, and these two vertical columns. So tool head is going to be there. These are the tool heads on the two vertical columns. These tool heads can be moved up and down, and also these columns may be adjustable. We can move the columns also. Cross rail fixed among the two columns. This is the cross rail. This is the cross rail, which is fixed on the two columns, that can be slide horizontal and it holds one or two tool heads. So this cross rail can hold two or one or two tool holes. Let's say this is the one tool head, this is the second tool head. So the cross rail, maybe it contains one or two tool heads that can slide horizontally on the cross rail. So here if you observe, so this is a cross rail. On this cross rail, so two tool heads are there. We can adjust the height of the tool heads by moving the cross rail on this vertical column. We can move the cross rail downward, upward on this by adjusting this cross rail on this vertical columns. And also we can adjust this distance between the two slides, two tool heads. So we can move these tool heads in this direction. As you can move these tool heads, so towards the center of the workpiece or away from the workpiece. So that means here either you can slide these cutting tool heads horizontally on the cross rail. Tool heads can be clamped in a position and can be jointly or separately. You can use these cutting tools jointly or separately, depends upon the necessities. So if you observe this entire diagram, we have four cutting tool heads. This is the one tool head, this is the second tool head. For example, I'm going to give the number. This is the first one, this is the second one, this is the third one, and this one is the fourth one. We have four tool heads. That means we can handle four cutting tools at a time, and we can perform the operations at four places of the workpiece. So either we can perform these operations jointly or separately. So either if you can perform these four operations at a time, or separately we can operate. So this is about the double housing planar mission. So this is a double housing, this is a work table, and this is a cross rail, and these are the two vertical columns. One second. These are the two vertical columns. If you observe at the two vertical columns, two tool heads are there. This is the first tool head, this is second tool head. This is first tool head, this is the second tool head, and this is the bed, and this is a complete bed, and on above the bed the table is going to be placed. This is a work table, and cross rail. Here these are the two tool heads. This cross rail contains the two tool heads. So in this diagram only one tool head is there. Maybe it contains one tool head or two tool heads. That is depends upon the requirement. So we can adjust this height of the cross rail. We can adjust the height of the cross rail by sliding this cross rail on the two vertical columns. And also here we can change the distance between these two tool heads also by sliding these two tool heads on the cross rail. So depends upon the application and depends upon the position of the workpiece, you can change the position of the cutting tools. And here the table is going to be reciprocating, and we are going to move the stationary cutting tool towards the workpiece or toward the reciprocating workpiece. This is a double housing planar. Open side planar. So open side planar have only one vertical column. It has only one vertical column. There is no another vertical column. Other side is open. So that's why it is called as an open column or open side planar. One side it contains one column, other side is open. And column and cross rail take single and double tool heads in that order. This kind of machine permit machining of extensive workpieces. Let's see here. This is a cross rail. Either you can use the single tool head or multiple tool heads. So that is depends upon the application. And this is used for the machining of extensive workpieces. So here this is about the work table, and is only the single column is open. For example, if you have the workpiece, let's say for example, if you have the workpiece like this extensor, the workpiece is like this. This is a workpiece. This is a complete workpiece. So if you want to perform only operation at this particular point, here I want to perform the operation. So in that case, we are going to use this single open side planar. Now you can observe this video. See, this is a workpiece, and this is a single column, and this is a cross rail. You can adjust the cross rail. You can move the cross rail on the single column, and this is the tool post. So either you can use the single tool head or multiple tool heads. That is depends upon the operations. And this is the workpiece. You can reciprocate the table. So if any extension of the extension part is there for the workpiece, so it is not possible to hold. If for example, if you 1 second, let's say for example, if I draw one workpiece here, let's say for example, if this is the workpiece, let's say this is the workpiece. If it has any extension part like this, if it has any extension part, one second, if it has any extension part like this, this is a workpiece. So here, if I want to perform the operation, here I want to remove the material. So if it has, this is the extension part. So if it has any extension part, for example, if this, if you want to perform the same operation on the same workpiece by using the double housing planar. So in the double housing planar, it has the two columns. Here we are going to have another column. This is another column. So if it has the two columns, it is not possible to hold this type of extension workpieces. So because this second column will it will not allows the move the workpiece. So that's why in those cases we are going to use the open side planar. Next one, pit planar. So it has a massive construction in which the table is kept in a pit and it is stationary. Generally for the planars, in case of the planars, the table is moving, workpiece is constant. But in case of the pit planar, The table kept in a pit and it is a station. The table is constant. So this type of planer is used for the to do the operation on heavy workpieces. For heavy works, the column carrying the cross rail reciprocates on a horizontal rail mounted on both sides of the table. As we know that unless until if you are maintaining the relative motion between the cutting tool and the workpiece, it is not possible to do any cutting operation. Here, because the work table is constant, you have to give the motion to the cutting tool. So that's why here this cutting tool is fixed on the cross rail. So this cross rail is attached to the two vertical columns. These are called as our two vertical columns, and these two vertical columns are placed on the rails. These are rail. These are the wheels. This complete vertical column will move on the rail by using these wheels. So we can move this complete frame on the to get the cutting motion. So in that case, in the case of the pit planer, the workpiece is stationary and we are moving the cutting tool. This type of the planer is going to be used for the heavy workpieces. So can you go for the heavy workpieces? Next, edge or plate type planer. So edge type planer is used for measuring the edges of the heavyweight workpieces. The workpiece is clamped on the bed with a side mounted carriage supporting the cutting tool is reciprocal along the edging of the workpiece. Simple logic here. The name itself indicates that edge planer. Here, if you want to remove the material from the edge of the workpiece, this is a workpiece. If you want to remove the edge of the workpiece, so we are going to use the edge type planer. Here, this is the carriage and this is a cutting tool. So this carriage has some wheels. We are going to move this carriage in this direction. We are move this carriage in this direction. If you move this carriage in this direction, automatically this cutting tool also move in this direction. So it will remove the material from the edge of the workpiece. So this is about the edge type planer. And a divided table planer. So the main purpose of this divided table planer is to reduce the ideal time. So divided type planer is also called tandem planer, consists of two work tables which can reciprocate separately or together. It has two work tables. Those two work tables either reciprocated together or separately. That means we can operate these two tables separately or together. This design saves the ideal time while setting the work. This planer mainly suitable for mass production work where identical machining is to be done by loading the work on one of the tables while the other reciprocating past the cutting tool for finishing the workpiece. So here this is used to reduce the ideal time. Let's see, I will explain how we are going to reduce the ideal time. Let's see, for example, here we have two tables. Now we have the two workpieces. Let's say, for example, here this is a workpiece and this is another workpiece, and where we are performing the similar operations on these two workpieces. We are performing on the similar operation on the two workpieces. Let's say, for example, assume that we have only one work table. We have only one work table. After completion of the operation on this workpiece, what we are going to do? We will stop the mission and we are going to remove the finished workpiece. We are going to unload the finished workpiece from the table and we are going to load the new workpieces to the table. So simply here, if you want to do the operations, we are not simply placing the workpiece on the table. We have to use the different work holding devices to hold the workpiece in a particular position. So if you want to fix the workpiece, it takes some time. So loading and unloading the workpieces from the work table, it takes some time. Here, if it has only one table, what we are going to do? We are going to first we have to fix the workpiece in it on the work table, and you can perform the operation. After completion of the operation, so we are going to stop the mission and we are going to unload the workpiece from the table, and again we are going for the loading. While you unloading and loading the workpieces, the machine is going to be stopped. That means there is no work is going to be done. So that is the wastage of time. That is called as the ideal time. So to avoid that ideal time, here we are using the two tables. Let's say, for example, some operation is going to be performing on this workpiece parallel simultaneously we are going to load another workpiece to the next table. We are going to load another workpiece to the next table. Let's say, for example, I'm going to give the number. For example, this is the table number 1, and this is the table number 2. So here I'll change the color. 1 second. 1 second. I'll give the table numbers. Let's see. This is the table number 1, and this is the table number 2. So here we have the two tables, table number 1 and the table number 2. Now, while the operation is performing on the workpiece which is placed on the table number 1. Now, while 1 second. So here on the table number 1, initially the workpiece is placed on the table 1, and we are performing some operation on the table number workpiece which is placed on the table number 1. While this operation is performing, similarly, simultaneously, we are going to load the second workpiece on the second table. And after completion of the operation, immediately we are moving this table number 1 to the unloading, and we are moving this table number 2 to the cutting tool. So while the workpiece 1 is going to be unloading from the table number 1, simultaneously the cutting action is going to be takes place on the workpiece which is placed on the table number 2, because there is no need to stop the mission, because already we are ready. The table number 2 is ready with the workpiece. Immediately when the table number is moved away from the cutting tool, immediately the table number 2 will occupy the table number 1 position, and automatically the cutting tool will perform the operation on the workpiece 2. Because of this arrangement, so we are going to reduce the time to loading and unloading the workpieces. Here the same thing will explain this diagram. Here this is the table number 1, this is a column, and here cutting tool is there. Let's say, for example, this is the cutting tool. We are performing the operation on the table number 1. While you performing the operation on the table number 1, immediately simultaneously the workpiece is going to be loading to the table number 2. After completion of this operation, the table number 1 will move to this direction, and table number 2 will occupy this position. And while you unloading the material from the table number 1, the cutting action is going to be performed on the table number 2, and it is a cyclic process. So because of this arrangement, we can reduce the wastage of the time. So it will affect on the production rate. So that's why the dividing table planer is going to be used for the mass production. Next, so that is about the planing and types of planing missions. Next, we will see the slotting mission. So what is a slotting mission? The slotting mission is a reciprocating mission tool in which the ram holding the tool reciprocates in a vertical axis, and the cutting action of the tool is only during the downward stroke. So just in case of the shaping mission, the ram will reciprocate in a horizontal, but here the ram will reciprocate in a vertical direction. So this is the complete ram, and this is the complete motor and driving system, and here the table, and the table we are going to place the workpiece. Here we are going to place the workpiece, and we are going to remove the material from the workpiece by removing this ram in a downward and upward direction. In the downward and upward. So the cutting action is going to take place only in the downward direction. That's why the downward stroke is called as a cutting stroke, and the upward stroke is called as a return ideal stroke. Upward stroke is called as a ideal stroke. The slotting machine is used for cutting grooves, keys, and slots of various shapes, making regular and irregular surfaces on both internal and external surface, cutting internal and external gaze and profiles. The primary purpose of the slotting machine is to use for the cutting the grooves and keys, and also it is used for the internal and external gear cuttings. We'll see the how the let's see is making the keyways and the shaft. So the ram will move in downward direction and upward direction. Only during the downward direction only the cutting action will take place. That's why The downward stroke is called as a cutting stroke, and the return stroke is upward stroke is called as a ideal stroke. And this is about the slotting mission. And you can in the previous video, the cutting action will be takes place on the external surface. Now we will see how we are going to make the keyways in the internal surface. This is a workpiece. We are going to hold the workpiece in a vise, and this is a cutting tool, and here you have to make some key slots. It's a cutting tool. We are going to move the cutting tool in downward and upward direction. Let's see, the cutting tool is moving in downward and upward direction. Only during the downward stroke only the metal is removing, so it is a cutting stroke, and the upward stroke it is a ideal stroke. Now, so just like the slaughter mission, here we are going to use some mechanism to drive this slaughter. So major type of this driving mechanism used in slaughters are slaughter link and gear mechanism, the slotted disc mechanism, hydraulic mechanism. The first and third, these two are just like these shaper mechanisms. So we are going to use the same mechanism as shapers. Now the second one, the slotted disc mechanism, somewhat different from the shaper. Now we will discuss about the slotted disc mechanism, which is used for to operate the slaughter mission. So slotted disc mechanism consists of gear, slotted disc, pinion, and crank. So this is a flywheel, this is a gear, this is the pinion, this one is a slotted disc, and this is a connecting rod, and this is a stroke adjustment lever, and this is a tool, and this one is the ram. Our intention is to reciprocate the ram in a vertical position. Now here the rotary motion of this pinion and gear and pinion and the slotted disc is going to be converted into the reciprocating motion. The major driving pulley is driven through the motor through V-belts. It is attached to the pinion to drive the gear, which is attached to the disc. Here this flywheel is going to be attached to the V-belt, and if you switch on the motor, the flywheel rotate. If the flywheel rotate, automatically gear along with the pinion will be rotate, and this arrangement is connected to the disc. So this disc is going to be rotated, and this disc is connected to the connecting rod. So this connecting rod is going to be converted the rotary movement of the slotted disc to the reciprocating movement of the ram. Now see, this is the completed disc, and here this is a V-belt. So the rotary movement of this disc is going to be converted into the reciprocating. This is a flywheel. These are the V-belts. So all these are the flywheels. These are connected to the gear and pinion. These are connected to the slotted disc. This is a slotted disc, and this rotary movement. This is a connecting rod. This is the disc, and this is a connecting rod. The rotary movement of this slotted disc is going to be converted into reciprocating movement by using the connecting rod. This one, the rotary movement is going to be converted into reciprocating movement by using the connecting rod. So this type of mechanism is used for the slotting mission. Now we'll see what are the types of slotting missions: punch slaughter, tool room slaughter, and production slaughter. These are the three types of the slaughters. So punch slaughter, which is a heavy duty rigid mission designed for removing large amount of metal from the large forgings or castings. And tool room slaughter, which is a heavy mission which is designed to operate at high speeds. So this machine takes light cuts and gives accurate finishing. So it will give the accurate finishing. And production slaughter, heavy duty slaughter consisting of heavy cast base and heavy frame, and is generally made into two parts. So these are the different types of slotting missions. So this is about the slotting mission. Now we'll see what is the definitions and formula for the cutting speed, feed, depth of cut, and machine time calculations for all the shaper, planer, and slaughter, because all these will come under the same category. Shaping and slotting missions and planing missions, all these are come under the same categories. And all these three missions, either the work table is going to be reciprocating or the cutting tool is going to be reciprocating. So we'll see what are the definitions and formulas for these terms. First we'll see what is the meaning, what is the cutting speed. So cutting speed of a shaper or planer or slaughter is the rate at which the metal is removed during the cutting stroke. So this is expressed in meter per minute. So how much amount of metal is going to be removed from the cutting stroke, from the workpiece? The cutting speed formula is the length of the cutting stroke by time required for the cutting stroke. So the formula, the equation for this one is cutting speed V is equal to NL into 1 plus M by 1000 meter per minute. So where L is equal to length of the cutting stroke in mm, and small m is the ratio between the return time to the cutting time. So the time required to finish the cutting time and return time. So cutting time is nothing but forward stroke, and return time is nothing but in the return stroke for the shaper and the planer. And during the, if you apply the same thing for the slotting, cutting time is nothing but time taken for the downward stroke, and return time is nothing but the time taken for the upward stroke. And N stands for the number of double strokes of the ram per minute. How many double strokes we are getting per minute? And come to the feed. The feed is the distance of the tool head travels at the beginning of each cutting stroke. It expressed in mm for double stroke. And next one is the depth of cut. So it is the thickness of the metal removed in one cut and is measured by the perpendicular distance between the machined and non-machined surface. It expressed in mm. Same definitions we covered in the lathe machine. So go for the machining time. This is an important term. So how much time it takes to finish the one cut or one cycle of operation. So if the cutting speed, feed, length of the cutting stroke, breadth of the job or width of the job, and the number of double strokes per minute for the operations are known, the machine time required for one complete cut, or you can call it as a one complete cycle, may be calculated by using this formula. Total time taken to complete the cut is equal to L into B into 1 plus M by 1000 VF, where L is the length of the cutting stroke and B is the breadth of the job, or you can call it as a W is a width. You can use the breadth or width. M is the ratio between the return time to the cutting time, and V is the cutting speed, and F is the feed. So by using this formula, we can go for the machining time calculations. So this is about the machining time calculation.